and welcome to a new video and welcome to another WWE reaction. This video was recommended by Fred Lugo, who said check full Bloodline recap for Formation to Implosion. I did find this by Sportskeeda Wrestling, and I have done a lot of Bloodline. I think this will be the last video because I really wanted to catch up with the Bloodline because it's so important for Elimination Chamber, but as well as WrestleMania 40 itself. And I wanted to know everything and catch up with everything until then. So I think this video will be like the full recap for it, but maybe if there is a couple of things that are missing, you can let me know by the end of the video. So let's go and check it out.
As the summer heats up, we've officially witnessed 3 years of the Bloodline storyline on WWE television.
Even more.
By the end of
4
the summer,
years.
there may not even be a Bloodline on WWE
There's still
television.
Bloodline.
For many wrestling fans, this has been one of the greatest stories of their lifetime. For some older fans, it may be the best story of the past few years. No matter what, it has bridged generations of fandom in wrestling. It has elevated multiple superstars. And at the center of it all, there is one man. Roman Reigns. It's only appropriate that we start our Bloodline recap with the most important player in this story.
Hell yeah.
Chapter 1, the early beginnings, and the road to WrestleMania 37. It all began in August of 2020 after The Fiend Bray Wyatt defeated Braun Strowman to win the WWE Universal Championship at SummerSlam. It had been 5 months since the pandemic era got going, and WWE found themselves in a very challenging situation like everyone else, with no fans allowed to attend shows due to the pandemic. Roman Reigns was out of action since he pulled out of WrestleMania 36 in a big match with Goldberg, and he did so to take care of his own health and his family, and then the Thunderdome got going. After Bray Wyatt defeated Strowman, Roman Reigns returned and viciously attacked both men with a steel chair, shocking everyone online, leaving fans excited and confused about whether this long-awaited and anticipated and desired heel turn by the big dog, who just wasn't having a big impact with fans wanting to cheer him as much as some would hope, had finally happened. Had we finally seen the turn? With only a week between two premium live events, SummerSlam was followed up with Payback. WWE quickly set up a triple threat match for the Universal Championship at Payback involving Bray, Braun Strowman, and, yes, Roman Reigns. Adam Pearce, the WWE official, found himself scrambling to get Reigns to sign his contract for the match, which is when it was revealed that he was the newest Paul Heyman guy, cementing his villainous ways, manipulating and playing everyone up until the last minute. This was not the big dog. This was someone else showing up in a prime situation with Paul Heyman at their side, performing one of the weirdest loopholes in WWE history, where Reigns sat back and let Braun and Bray womp on each other at Payback, coming in at the last minute, signing the contract during the match. Is that even legal? And
I don't think that's legal.
Capture the WWE Universal Championship. Little did anyone know that this would kickstart one of the greatest world title reigns in the history of pro wrestling in the last 4 decades. To get things, WWE had booked a fatal 4-way match on SmackDown to determine Roman Reigns' first Universal title challenger. The original match saw Big E versus Baron Corbin, Sheamus, and Matt Riddle. But after Big E was taken out, Paul Heyman pulled some strings upon Roman Reigns' orders and put his cousin, Jey Uso, in the match. After Jey Uso became nepotistically the #1 contender, it instantly elevated him to main event status, and soon enough he would be dubbed Main Event Jey Uso. But before that happened, he got steamrolled by Roman Reigns at Clash of Champions. If Roman Reigns aligning himself with Paul Heyman was a sleazy enough thing to do, his relentless assault of his own flesh and blood, Jey Uso solidified him as truly the top villain in the business after he was previously maybe the top babyface in the business. The beatdown resulted in an injured Jimmy Uso coming to ringside to throw in the towel for his own tag team partner and brother, reluctantly acknowledging Reigns as the tribal chief.
Yeah, well,
a rematch between Jey and Roman was set for the next month in an I Quit Hell in a Cell match, inarguably one of the best matches from WWE's No Fans Thunderdome era, saw Reigns stamp in his authority by once again giving Jey Uso a one-sided beatdown, and he took an injured Jimmy Uso in a guillotine chokehold, forcing Jey to utter the words, I quit, don't hurt my brother. Yes, Jey Uso eventually fell in line and began to listen to the orders from his high-ranking cousin, often being berated and manipulated. The month of November 2020 was likely less eventful, with Reigns defeating Drew McIntyre in an excellent Universal Championship versus WWE Championship match at Survivor Series. The onslaught of tough challengers would continue, with the always fighting Kevin Owens beginning his feud not just with Reigns, but with the entire now defined Bloodline
Is this
faction.
when Sami Zayn then at the end joined him and
of outstanding matches against
Usos?
Reigns, first TLC, then a steel cage match 5 days later on SmackDown that was seen by millions of people, and then a third with a last man standing match at Royal Rumble. With WrestleMania soon on the horizon, Edge was the 2021 Men's Royal Rumble winner, giving him a shot at the championship. Daniel Bryan then tried to pry the title from Roman unsuccessfully at 2 consecutive premium live events, Elimination Chamber and Fastlane. Roman Reigns continued to be unfair to his championship challengers. The first of those challenges from Daniel Bryan saw him defeat 5 other men in a truly classic Elimination Chamber match, earning a Universal title shot. But here's the twist. The match was immediately after, and he lost to Roman Reigns in only 95 seconds. Oh, real easy night for you there, Roman. Don't try too hard. Only 95 seconds. That's right. You're not paid by the hour. This was followed by Edge officially announcing he would take on Roman Reigns with his Royal Rumble win at WrestleMania. But before that happened, he was the special guest enforcer in a rematch between Reigns and Daniel Bryan, who obviously has an issue with how he was treated. Bryan made Reigns tap out. That's right. Roman Reigns tapped out as the Universal Champion, but didn't make a title change because there was no referee to call it.
Oh my God, get out!
The title after all of these shenanigans, I tell you. Rather than a straightforward WrestleMania one-on-one main event, we got Edge taking on Roman Reigns, with Daniel Bryan being added as a triple threat match. In what was probably one of the most dominating pinfalls ever, Reigns stacked Edge on top of Daniel Bryan after crashing a steel chair upon both of them, walking in and out of WrestleMania with the WWE Universal Championship, something he would eventually do 3 years in a row. Meanwhile, Jey Uso won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Chapter 2. The Bloodline unifies and the ascent to undisputed greatness. Roman Reigns was able to end Daniel Bryan's WWE career and send him packing over to All Elite Wrestling in an outstanding match on SmackDown. Jimmy Uso returned to action during this time and showed a good deal of resistance towards the tribal chief, stating he was, quote, nobody's bitch. The Swiss cyborg Cesaro emerged as a surprising candidate to now challenge Reigns, but he fell short at WrestleMania Backlash in an outstanding match that deserved all of the stars you could give it. And it was definitely one of Reigns' best title defenses to date. The Mysterios, Dominic and Rey, would then get roughed up by the Bloodline. Dominic got powerbombed out of the ring. Rey Mysterio would be able to challenge Reigns for the title inside Hell in a Cell, not successfully. And then once WWE returned to the road with regular touring live shows, Edge was the next challenger. With live crowds back, a blockbuster main event for Money in the Bank, Roman Reigns retained the Universal title against Edge, thanks to interference from Seth Rollins. Not the Usos or anyone else in the Anoa'i family. Each title defense followed by an explosive return. And this title defense wasn't the big story of the night with WWE in front of live fans again. No, it was John Cena stealing the show to face off against Reigns. Oh, and we forgot to mention that the Usos began their record-breaking reign as tag team champions when they dethroned Rey and Dominic in a pre-show match on Money in the Bank. It didn't take too much convincing for Jey Uso to fall in line then. Though they had faced off before, it was under very different circumstances. We were getting Cena versus Reigns going into SummerSlam, and it felt big. Fans back, that energy there, and a big-time main event for WWE in a stadium setting. And thankfully, this second match completely outdid their first one back in 2017. AEW had recently debuted CM Punk, so how was WWE going to counter? By bringing back Brock Lesnar at the end of SummerSlam,
Here we
returned
go.
at the main event to confront Roman Reigns.
We
Brock
will
Lesnar
not
was
see this
absent through most of the
anymore.
pandemic era and later revealed that he even considered retiring in general because he didn't want to perform without an audience. Lesnar
yeah.
simply made his presence known,
It's
but
so
their
that
actual
bad
feud
without the
got
audience.
started a couple of months later. But before that, Reigns had the returning Finn Balor as his next challenger. Balor, who was supposed to face Reigns at SummerSlam, but a mishap resulted in John Cena signing the contract instead. He first defeated Finn Balor in early September on SmackDown, but at Extreme Rules, Balor would step up his game and bring out his demon persona.
Ooh,
it's worth noting
that
at this
looks so
point, the
cool.
demon had a very strong
I
win-loss
love
record
how
in WWE.
like the paint and
This title match, though
stuff.
outstanding
Wow.
bell to bell, was
That's really
problematic
cool
in terms of ring
paint.
post. That's right. Balor almost hitting the coup de grace to take out Reigns at the end of the match, but the turnbuckle snapped, and that cost him the match. Yeah, people didn't like that. A new path to WrestleMania began soon after, and it was Brock Lesnar that Reigns would face first at Crown Jewel, defeating him thanks to help from, guess who, the Usos.
Okay.
A small deviation saw Reigns defeat the then WWE champion Big E in a champion versus champion match at Survivor Series 2021. Sami Zayn became the next #1 contender for the title, and Brock Lesnar first attacked him, allowing Reigns to beat him in just mere seconds. More on Sami Zayn in a little bit.
Oh yeah,
It should be
Sami Zayn
noted
is
at this
important in
point,
this
Brock
story,
Lesnar
guys.
had been regularly just stirring the pot because of his relationship with Paul Heyman.
Yeah,
First
manager,
twist was
you know,
Roman
like-
Reigns firing his special counsel because he was never clear on whose side he was on. Heyman's well-documented history with Lesnar and now his current role with Reigns made a conflict. The second match between Reigns and Lesnar was supposed to happen at day 1, but because Roman Reigns got COVID at the time, it was cleared, and we got a completely different match. WWE decided to go with the long-lasting consequences and inserted Brock Lesnar in the WWE Championship match between Big E, Bobby Lashley, and Kevin Owens, along with Seth Rollins. Brock Lesnar won the title and teased unifying it with Roman Reigns. But he wouldn't get there so fast because the dream feud between Lesnar and Lashley resulted in them facing off at the Royal Rumble in a whole dusty finish thing. Also on the card for Royal Rumble in St. Louis was a special face-off for the Universal Championship between Reigns and his old Shield faction member and former friend, Seth Rollins. Rollins was purely under the skin of the Tribal Chief, and it played into this match with Seth Rollins coming out to the old Shield music. Yeah, mind games. Reigns couldn't simply
Mind
finish
games.
off Seth
He's
Rollins'
the trick
bell to
master,
bell
right?
and was forced to use a steel chair and get disqualified. Yeah, that is the only incomplete part of this story. It was on the same night where the next big twist came as Paul Heyman, who was back with Lesnar by then, handed the WWE Championship title belt to Roman Reigns and allowed him to attack the Beast Incarnate, leading to Bobby Lashley
How
becoming
dare
a
you
world
do
champion
that?
again. Yeah, that was that dusty finish we talked about. The Usos continue to gallop as tag team champions, running through the New Day. An infuriated Brock Lesnar entered number 30 in the Royal Rumble match after losing the WWE title earlier in the night, Heyman turning on him, going on to win the entire Rumble match for a second time in his career.
Okay.
Rather than choosing to face Roman Reigns right away, he put himself in a WWE title match at Elimination Chamber. During the Chamber match, he took out Bobby Lashley, who was unable to continue, and regained the WWE title once again. With Reigns
my
having
God, just
defeated
destroying
Goldberg
everyone
at
in the
Elimination
way.
Chamber, this immediately set up a champion versus champion WrestleMania showdown where both world titles would be unified. Jimmy and Jay had a successful night at WrestleMania 38 when they retained the SmackDown Tag Team titles, while Roman Reigns defeated Brock Lesnar once again to become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. For the second time, he walked in and out of WrestleMania with the title in hand. As the pyro blasted off into the Texas sky, Roman Reigns had 2 world titles. Even more dominant.
Undefeated.
Even more the supreme superstar in all of wrestling. Whether you liked it or not, he had built up a mountain underneath him, and he was on top of it. Chapter 3, the peak of the story and the eventual cracks forming underneath. The third chapter of the Bloodline has been the best one by far, and the most eventful.
The Sami Zayn one,
you may have
right?
noticed that Roman was the central to everything that was happening. But after WrestleMania 38, there began a major shift in focus to the other players in the Bloodline's dynamic. This change first began when Roman officially signed a new contract with WWE that made him a part-time featured superstar. This meant that WWE was going to have to rely on the Usos and Heyman
to carry the
show,
the Bloodline,
and the presence of everything Bloodline on television when they simply didn't have Roman there. He first teamed with the Usos to defeat RK Bro and Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania Backlash.
Why does it
the Usos would soon defeat RK Bro
like that every time?
The WWE Tag Team Championships between Raw and SmackDown. WWE fans were going to get used to seeing Roman Reigns periodically when he would have his first title defense of the undisputed Universal Championship just 2 months after WrestleMania against Matt Riddle on SmackDown. Yes, he won the match. It was around this time that the very charismatic Sami Zayn began to associate himself backstage with the Bloodline. He found himself getting rejected by a skeptical Jey Uso while getting along with his brother Jimmy. The timing of Sami being added to this entire story, which at this point had been going on for 18
what I learned about
months.
this situation is like Sami was so crucial to this whole thing because he was the one who was not a family member entering the Bloodline, just to call out how bad the Bloodline is to all of them because it was too close to home for them until Sami joined.
Was adding a breath of fresh air to everything and a level of comedy as well. It was rumored and reported that WWE was looking to have Reigns face off against the Viper Randy Orton, playing off of the whole RK Bro fallout thing at SummerSlam. But an injury to the Viper forced him to call in Brock Lesnar
again.
One more clash with Reigns.
It's like
WWE advertised their SummerSlam clash as the last match ever between the two, since this was their 6th and final match. It would be determined in a last man standing affair in Nashville, Tennessee. Despite the series between Lesnar and Reigns, 3 of them WrestleMania main events, Reigns and Brock Lesnar lacked the chemistry they once had in the ring. But the last man standing match proved to be the best of their series, as the Tribal Chief stood tall with the referee calling the match without even making a full 10 count. Also, the ring was flipped over by a bulldozer. Yeah, it was an insane scene in Tennessee. With one of WWE's biggest international live events, Clash at the Castle, coming around the corner in Cardiff, Wales, Scotland's Drew McIntyre stepped up to the plate. The Usos weren't allowed to travel to the UK because of some visa issues, and Paul Heyman didn't come either, leaving Roman Reigns to enter into this match without his usual insurance policy at ringside. McIntyre proved to be the biggest threat to Reigns so far, nearly defeating him several times in the match. The gasp from the audience during those pinfalls that didn't get all the way there, and we saw the debut of a new insurance policy for Roman Reigns. Solo Sikoa.
Solo Sikoa got the visa, but his brothers didn't.
After helping Roman Reigns retain the Universal Championship at the Clash, Solo was officially inducted into the Bloodline as the faction's enforcer, but not before he acknowledged the Tribal Chief. Sami Zayn continued to have an increasing pestering presence around the Bloodline, and although Roman Reigns initially hinted at wanting nothing to do with him, he inducted him as an honorary Us, much to the dismay of Jey Uso, who still didn't trust Sami Zayn. This was one of the most viral video moments of WWE for the year. And this was all despite, over the last few months, Sami Zayn helping the Usos retain their titles. He took the bullet for them in the form of a Claymore kick to the face to protect Roman Reigns, and he did it all to prove himself to the Bloodline. Oddly enough, Solo Sikoa didn't seem to take to Sami better than his own elder brothers, the Usos. The challengers continued for Reigns, and this one may be the most surprising that we cover. Logan Paul. The internet celebrity darling had only 2 matches in WWE, all of them successful
But
affairs.
just because you are a
but
celebrity,
now he was pushed to the main event of Crown
3
Jewel in Saudi Arabia.
matches already.
He had the opportunity of a lifetime
Wow.
to win WWE's top prize in only his 3rd pro wrestling match. Yes, celebrities get to do that.
That's
Though
so
Logan
bad.
Paul is considered a polarizing figure on the internet and entertainment, he proved himself to be better than all of the expectations and had an outstanding
he is-
performance in Sami Zayn being taken out by the rest of the bloodline, except Jey Uso, who refused to be a part of this. The Usos' true intentions and loyalties were also being questioned.
Yeah.
He returned in the very, and we mean very last minute on SmackDown to defend the tag team titles against Braun Strowman and Ricochet. Coming through the crowd, where were you, dude? Even after defending the titles, Jay's stance was unclear. There was even more doubt thrown in here when Sami Zayn approached him backstage and personally acknowledged him over Roman. Oh,
Nice.
dueling acknowledgments. Throughout this time, Sami Zayn was also actively
Playing with
trying
his
to make
emotions.
amends with Kevin Owens,
Yeah.
who couldn't come around because of what happened with him for the past few months at the hands of the Bloodline. In one of the best Canadian WWE matches of all time, Sami Zayn failed to topple Roman Reigns off his throne at Elimination Chamber when he accidentally speared Jey Uso, who refused to attack him despite Reigns' orders. Montreal may not have gotten what they wanted to see in their hometown, but they did get to witness Sami Zayn being saved by Kevin Owens. Although it looked like they had finally reunited after 5 years of strife, Owens still refused to team with his old friend.
Oh.
The month of March it came around, and
But they
Jey
did
Uso's
though,
stance
right?
was still unclear, forcing Reigns to give a 1-week ultimatum to make his decision.
Oh.
Thankfully for him, Jey Uso made his position clear a few days later, when he pretended to choose Sami Zayn, only to super kick him and reunite with his brother Jimmy. Roman Reigns' WrestleMania feud against Cody Rhodes began. And this is where we
that's
saw
the
the Universal
timeline.
Championship and the Tag Team Championship storylines intertwine. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, who had returned to WWE at the previous year's WrestleMania to much fanfare, played an important role as a mediator between Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, eventually convincing Owens to extend the
Yeah.
olive branch. That same night, Owens saved Sami Zayn from the Usos' attack, and the two were finally reunited in another incredible moment in this story.
Brotherhood.
With all 3 men now laser focused on their challenges to the Bloodline at WrestleMania,
Okay.
Cody Rhodes became the first man to pin Solo Sikoa on the main roster of WWE,
Okay.
while KO and Sami Zayn geared up for the main event against the Usos. It was only appropriate that the Tag Team Championship match headlined WrestleMania 39 Night 1,
yeah.
something that had never happened before. And they got the spotlight in the grandest stage of them all, putting
That's
on
so
one of the
cool.
best tag team matches in WWE history. KO and Sami Zayn dethroning the
just skipped
Usos
something.
to end their record-breaking 622-day reign as the unified tag
years.
team champions of the WWE. Cody Rhodes, on the other
Yay!
hand, didn't have the best of luck.
Yeah.
Despite Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn's involvement
He
in the
didn't
main
finish the
event of
story
Night
last
2 of
year.
WrestleMania to neutralize the Usos, he couldn't
Even though
finish
they
the
helped.
proverbial story as Roman
Wait a
Reigns
minute.
walked out of his 3rd consecutive WrestleMania with the Universal title intact. At this point, was it getting too long on the tooth? On Raw after WrestleMania 39, Cody Rhodes immediately challenged Roman Reigns to a rematch, but they drifted in different directions
Yeah.
when his to-be tag team partner Brock Lesnar turned on him to kickstart a new
Oh,
feud.
hi
With no
there.
challengers emerging in the wake of Cody Rhodes, the Tribal Chief took
Hi
a
again.
well-deserved rest. But you can imagine that the most manipulative and controlling man in all of the WWE wasn't happy about the Usos losing those
Defeat,
tag
yeah.
team titles. This caused an even bigger crack in the Anawahi bloodline than anything before, and it was only worsened when the Usos failed to recapture the titles on SmackDown in late April. Despite Solo Sikoa and the Usos defeating KO, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle at Backlash, there was a moment when Solo nearly took out Jey, who even urged him to go ahead with it and attack him. He didn't turn on Jey Uso, but the damage had been done. Getting sick of the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn problem, Roman decided to take matters into his own hands and revealed that he and Solo would compete for the undisputed tag team titles at Night of Champions, and not the Usos. Now, Jimmy Uso was getting the verbal lashings upon his character backstage by Roman on SmackDown. And later that same night, Roman and Solo were the scheduled guests to appear on the KO show to build hype for Night of Champions. But the Usos came out instead. KO, continuing to stir the pot yet again, told Jimmy Uso that he was right this entire time about Roman. And Jimmy declared himself the Tribal Chief. Oh, but that's Roman's nickname. Things finally erupted at Night of Champions when the Usos interfered in the tag team title main event.
This
the chaos led to the Usos accidentally super kicking Solo Sikoa. An infuriated Roman Reigns came in and started to yell at them like children, only for Jimmy Uso to snap off an electric, game-changing super kick
like we already
to Roman Reigns' face.
Like,
and this indirectly helped.
Personally, this is what I imagined because I haven't seen WrestleMania 39. I haven't seen it. I haven't watched it. I know that Cody lost the title. I know that Roman Reigns won. But this is what I was anticipating for this year's WrestleMania, where they turn against the Tribal Chief. But I feel like this story already happened and nothing changed really. So what will happen for Roman Reigns to actually lose?
KO and Sami Zayn retained their titles.
Or for this bloodline.
Even Sami Zayn admitted that his role with the Bloodline story is more or less over after a full year. It seemed like he managed to get the last laugh.
Yeah.
Jimmy Uso couldn't say the same, not yet anyway. When celebrating his 1,000 days as Universal Champion, Roman Reigns got a new look for the Universal Championship belt. But the celebration was immediately interrupted by Jimmy and Jey. It was another dramatic moment in the Bloodline story as Jimmy got right in Reigns' face, but soon admitted he wanted to reconcile. He even got Solo Sikoa on his side.
Wow.
Or at least he
so
thought
look,
he
all
did
of them
anyway,
again.
When Solo told Reigns that he acknowledged him, but chose his brothers instead. Oh boy. Although Reigns and Jimmy did hug it out, the Tribal Chief showed no intentions of being remorseful, and that was where the next twist came with Solo Sikoa taking out Jimmy and effectively kicking him out of the Bloodline. Reigns still expects Jey Uso to fall in line, but these are no longer cracks. These are seismic shifts in a family. And that's where we are so far. Enjoy it while it lasts, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime story. Do you agree?
Oh, it is.
Let us know in the comments
It's such a good one. Oh my goodness, we have no idea. Like the last thing, as I said, it's Cody and Jey Uso reuniting. Not reuniting, but like, I don't know, like being together for a while, and CM Punk there. And I have no idea what's gonna happen. This is the best storyline since I have been watching WWE, and I watched it since 2004. I have never thought wrestling could reach this level of Hollywood, which is so true. And man, I came into WWE at the best time ever, you guys. Like, it is so freaking entertaining. On a weekly basis, there is something happening. The story keeps shifting, and it's such a good story. Good characters, good personalities, good wrestlers, really entertaining. I mean, like, I'm so lucky. And it's not even been a year, guys. Like, I started April last year, so in 3 months or so, it's gonna, or 2 months actually, it's February, so in 2 months it's gonna be a year. Like, it is crazy. I literally started watching after WrestleMania, like after that, and following the stuff. But back then I would watch only the old stuff, and I would not keep up with the Cody story or anything like that. I started following all of this maybe like 3 months, 4 months ago or so. Like, I don't think it's been that long, and I'm hooked. I am so hooked, you guys. It's crazy. Yeah, this was so good. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. And if you want to share extra love, then you can go to the share button and copy the link there. You don't have to share it anywhere, but copying the link helps tremendously. But that is it. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Bye.